Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. So I'm always happy when I get a dealer's choice donation deck list that just lets me play whatever I want. Not because I just want to play some random Legacy deck, but because I get to use these opportunities to play the just craziest stuff that I've seen online recently. So thank you very much to Ben D for supporting today's video. We are going to be playing a deck list from Japan. We are going to be playing Marush06's Multicolor Humans deck list. So this deck list is built around General Ferrous Rokirik, rather. It's hexproof from monocolored, which means it dodges a lot of removal spells, your lightning bolts, your swords to plowshares, that sort of stuff. And whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. Now, if you take a look at this deck, minus the Thalias and the Noble Hierarchs, all the other creatures here are multicolored creatures. So you get to go and make a whole lot of golems and go wide. Now, we can go deeper here. Here's the cool thing. We have some Cascade creatures in this deck, right? So what we're looking to do is play this on turn 2 off of a Noble Hierarch in the situations where our mana is perfect. And then on turn 3, we cast a Shardless Agent or maybe a Bloodbraid Elf. When we do so, we Cascade. Shardless Agent is multicolored, and the thing that you Cascade into will very frequently be multicolored as well, meaning that you just get to make a small army of golem tokens and go wide extremely quickly. We have many of the benefits of humans in that we have hatebears like Thalia and Lavinia and Meddling Mage to kind of get us through the early game, and we kind of have the inevitability of the humans deck in the late game as well. There's a bunch of multicolor human all-stars here, such as General Kudro, and things that have seen major play in other formats like Mantis Rider that don't tend to see a lot of legacy play. I have some minor concerns with the deck list. The mana base is playing 4 Wastelands in this very mana pip intensive deck. It's usually going to work out. But Bloodbraid Elf, for example, is an elf berserker. So, that's something that's very real, right? I don't believe we have any other berserkers or elves in this deck list. The Bloodbraid Elves are a little hard to cast, but they're very good as far as endgame inevitability goes. And if it comes down to it, you can put it in off an Aether Vial as a 3/2 haster, and that's not the end of the world. The sideboard has a lot of powerful options, including one that's very spicy, Magus of the Moon. Now, if you take a quick look at the mana base, we are not a deck that can really cast spells after a Magus of the Moon, right? We have Aether Vials that can kind of help with that, and maybe Noble Hierarchs, but this is going to shut down our own mana too. The idea being that, if you put a Magus of the Moon into play versus some decks, it is just literally game over. And we have some narrow but cute sideboard cards like Orzhov Pontiff and Izzet Staticaster as well to go and help things out here. I saw a screenshot of this deck list on Twitter. I immediately asked for it, and they got back to me very quickly. I'm very excited about playing this deck list. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. Those sorts of things are the easiest ways to support my content for free, and if you really enjoy my content regularly, consider doing something like becoming a YouTube member to support me, or doing a donation deck list. YouTube members get access to my Discord, as well as some exclusive videos. Alright, let's battle. Ah yes, the perfect opening hand. We have an Aether Vial on... Oh no, this doesn't cast Aether Vial. This is one of the... common situations you run into with a human's mana base. Ahem. Do I keep this on 6? Probably keep this on 6. I might die immediately for keeping this, though, unfortunately. I think I'm going to get rid of the Shardless Agent here. This is a sketchy hand, because if my opponent is playing a Bant control deck, I can just eat a Prismatic Ending and lose this Aether Vial on turn 1. And that pretty much loses me the game instantly. I can draw a land to get out of it, but with these multicolored spells here, it's pretty rough. All right, looks like we are actually playing against Death and Taxes here, which is totally fine. File goes up, and I'll just be passing the turn here. I am not super well equipped to fight Death and Taxes here because of something like Stoneforge Mystic coming down and just putting a Cauldron into play. Jitte is also pretty bad here, honestly. Alright, opponent is going for the Cauldron. I will go ahead and put in this Noble Hierarch and see if I can do anything here. Lavinia not great. Meddling Mage not great. Thalia not great. Really need something else here. So I guess I will cast my Thalia. And I will go ahead and put this in. I'll play a Meddling Mage. And we'll shut off Swords to Plowshares immediately to protect my creatures. Now, notably, Cascade is an on-cast trigger, not on like an enter the battlefield trigger, right? So, okay, sure. Goodbye, Ether Vial. That's pretty bad for me. Can't cast any multicolored spells here. I'm gonna get eaten alive. I'll destroy this Caracas so my Thalia can't get bounced. And I'll go ahead and swing on in with the Thalia here. Opponent obviously not going to block in that situation. Opponent just very far ahead here due to this equipment. This Skyclave coming in. Skyclave probably doesn't come in, right? No, it does not. Cavern is cool. So it seems like I'm in a racing situation. Probably means I have to take this attack and offer up Meddling Mage for Skyclave. Opponent is not on board with. Put this on human. And I'm going to attempt a Shardless Agent. There is some world where I hit another Thalia here and this gets awkward. Found the world! I'll cast the Thalia. This lets me keep an untapped one. My goal is to make this Cauldron go back on the defensive. I have not succeeded in this goal. I'll take 5. Ooh. Construct tokens are very good. This is another... Oh, it's a Retrofitter Foundry? Sure. I'm gonna say, if it's another Stoneforge, I don't know that I can beat that. Hello! Makes Wastelanding this awkward. Opponent also has enough chump blockers now. I don't really think I can win. Just can't beat this in combat. Doing a quick check through here. No, I can't really beat that. I don't really get better at beating that post sideboard. I get Reflector Mages. I guess I can top deck a Reflector Mage still and be in this. Oh, I can't even cast this. Oh no, I can cast this. Alright. I really want to destroy this Urza Saga. But I think if I don't put this in play, it's pretty hard for me to win. Oh shit. Oh no, it's hexproof from monocolored, not protection from monocolored. I'm fine with attacking in with this, trading it for this. Not sure that I am. Now that no, this doesn't get Swords of Plowshare. Whatever. Let's get in there. So the reason I play this pre-combat is so that if my opponent like blocks and has the Swords of Plowshares, they can't Swords of Plowshares my Noble Hierarch. Okay. Wonder if I attacked with too many things. Like, my opponent has been holding back creatures, but what if they just, like, change and just swing all out now? That's actually very awkward for me, isn't it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, they are holding some back. I'll absolutely just take that damage. I'm at 5. Alright, opponent's just going to make their Urza Saga token now. Fine by me. They can also turn this Servo into a Thopter. I would be taking out Noble Hierarch if I were them. They agree. And I just have another mana source here, so I can make a Golem. I guess I'm not technically dead yet, right? So I can go white, blue, play Lavinia. Okay. Eating it here. Shardless Agent is, sure. I'm going to take this opportunity to take out your Urza Saga, because I know I'm doing that. And then we'll let this beautiful stack resolve. Can't really attack here. And yeah, there, it's converted into a flyer. It can then be converted into a 4/4. Now, notably, Lavinia does stop Solitude, right? Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. So that's why my opponent had to do that in response. Now, I was dead on board. Or no, I'm not technically dead on board, right? I just have to block this with at least something. Throw the 4/4 in the way. And just make more of those. Like 2 here. That's not so bad, honestly. That's so bad, though. That's going to mean that I can't easily play Meddling Mage this turn. And I can go ahead and concede here now. That's fine. So Reflector Mage is good. These legendary creatures are like awkward. Staticaster is good. Pontiff's good. I probably play Lavinia. I don't super love Lavinia and Thalia, but like I have to keep some number of things to cascade into via Shardless Agent. Let's junk all the Thalias if I can. Let's see how this looks. This looks fine. So I want to keep a turn that can play a turn 2 General, if at all possible here. Alright. Is this hand good? Again, Meddling Mage, a Stoneforge on the play, and then like it 8 Swords to Plowshares. Or Lavinia comes down to protect it, which is... Or no, Lavinia doesn't. I think this is a pretty average looking hand. I'm going to try to do better here. Yeah. I'm going to keep this. Throw back 1 land here. I kind of hope to draw something to play on turn 2 so that my start isn't just overly slow. Like, General Ferrous is how I want to win this, but if my opponent, like, gets the first word with, like, an Aether Vial or a Stoneforge Mystic or something, yikes, end up being pretty far behind. This one on human. Pass the turn. I'll then play Well, I'll probably play Unclaimed Territory on Berserker on turn 3. Yeah. This is the sort of thing that I was afraid of. Like, this is why I wanted to have a Meddling Mage in the opener, but I didn't want to really go to 5. Alright, it's another General. Alright, so this goes on Berserker. And let's cast the General. Like, I have a powerful turn next turn. Right? Like, I'm going to attack for 6. Ah, didn't get wastelanded. That's nice. This is less nice. So I'll hope for a Reflector Mage as the thing that I cascade into to bounce this germ. Oh, nice. Ancient Ziggurat is fantastic, so I don't have to take damage. Let's play that. Bloodbraid Elf. Trigger. Get a 4/4. Oh, yeah, baby. Cast General Kudro. Get a 4/4. Hell yeah. Attack for 7. Disgusting. Aww. Okay. It's only an attack for 6 now. I know everyone's disappointed. It's okay. We will endure. Opponent said, hell yeah. Oh my god, the germ's still coming in. Absolutely. Get in there. Does that mean opponent has Batterskull? It's awkward if they have Batterskull. Okay, Flicker Wisp, so you're going to flicker your Cauldra. Oh, you're going to flicker a germ. Sure. Suppose that accomplishes kind of the same thing. And Aether Vial. So, play a Shardless Agent here. Riggers! This is really fun. We'll absolutely cast that Noble Hierarch. I crash in with everything here. This trades with one of my opponent's creatures. This could trade with one. I could deal like 4 damage. Replay a new Kudro next, or a new General Ferrous next turn. Is probably fine. Yeah, I think I'm okay with attacking in. Send them. Just sets me up to make a Reflector Mage a little bit better if I draw it. And now we'll play an Aether Vial and call it a turn. I am unsure whether or not I am actually going to put cycling, sure. Whether or not I'm going to put this Cauldra on the defensive yet. Like, I keep thinking that the Cauldra is going to be on the defensive, but it seems like no. I think they're just going to kill a Germ token, attack in for 5, and call that a turn. Oh no, I did put it on the defensive. Nice. That's something I very much want to do. Pick that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. This will be red. Can be white. This can be colorless. So white, blue, some other color. Reflector Mage. Trigger. Do this. Bounce a germ. Beautiful. Crash in for 6. This deck is awesome. I love this deck. Opponent's at 6. I have 4, 8, 9, 10. I have 13 power in play. What do you got? Like, you have a Timeless Dragon in the graveyard. That's 4 mana. Okay, it is a Skyclave. That's fine. Alright, let's take a vial up. Orins. Nice. I'm going to start by cycling this. I don't think I need that. Okay, it's just another vial. Alright, so there's Torrens, giving me another 4/4. My opponent can make a 1/1 here, so attacking with the General is not great. I think I'm just going to attack with both Golem tokens. Yeah. Okay, so here's the servo I expected to jump block. Alright, my opponent's going to 2. And I'll play a new Ether Vial. Opponent needs like a Batter Skull Caliber card here, otherwise I'm going to be able to slip the remaining damage over the finish line, I think. Like, they can have 3 blockers, that's 1, 2, 3, and then I have 2 other lethal attackers beyond that. Yeah, not surprising. I don't think I'm going to change anything about my sideboarding here. Like, there's some world where I'm like, oh, Magus of the Moon stops Urza Saga, but I think that just, like, hurts me too much for me to consider doing something like that. Let's run this back. I feel confident that my, what is it, General Ferrous is the way that I win these. Pontiff's good. Pontiff doesn't do Jack versus a Stoneforge, though. I think I'd keep this in a game 2. I'm not going to keep this in a game 3. This is a turn 2 General. I think I'm on board for that. Get rid of Wasteland. Yeah, I get both of my, like, spiraling cards here. Pretty happy with this. Alright. I'm going to sequence this in the way that doesn't cost me life, rather than the way that's better versus Wasteland. I think the individual points of life are very much relevant here. Okay. So, land into the General. General Ferrous. I believe in you. This is just so hard for my opponent to answer. Yeah, okay, I'm not getting wastelanded here. Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and play 4 ends here. Just yield to this. I do not want to attack into Mom here. So I'll pass my turn. My opponent will make their Urza Saga thing. I'll blow up your Urza Saga. Caracas is admittedly going to be pretty good for my opponent. Why do I talk? Why do I talk while I play videos? Okay, that's fine. Like, every time I recast this, I just do another thing with Torrens. Okay. That's pretty good. I get wastelanded too. What a fucking blowout of a turn. My own Caracas. That's not the worst. I think I'm going to go ahead and play Meddling Mage, saving myself the life here. Name Swords of Plowshares with this. Name Stoneforge Mystic? No, name Swords of Plowshares with this one. Stoneforge Mystic with the next one. Maybe I should have made my attack first. Alright. Name Swords. Crash in for 4, which becomes 5. I assume there's no blocks here. Oh, it's a jump. Oh, this is a red-white token. Okay. Ooh, another Urza Saga is kind of rough. The Wastelands are overly taxed right now. Another Noble Hierarch is fine. Yeah. So let's play the Meddling Mage. I want to shut off Stoneforge as something that they can have. Play out a Noble Hierarch here. And I think I'm just going to chill. I don't want to just, like, run into something with Flash like a Cathar Commando here and just, like, have it be super awkward. Like, I would think that card would be boarded out, but, like, you never know. Stop it. I need those. Yeah. I mean, that's almost good. I'm willing to pay 1 life here to put a more threatening thing into play than Lavinia. Yes. They're just, like... Oh no, I don't have the red anyway. Alright, let's play Lavinia and call it a turn. If I can drag this game on, I can eventually do something with a card like, say, an Orzhov Pontiff or something like that. and potentially get out from under this. A Wasteland for Caracas also is just really sick. Alright, opponent picking up an Ether Vial. Ah! Fuck! My Bloodbraid Elf. It's stranded. Reflector Mage, not great here. I think this is the point where things start to tip in favor of my opponent. Oh, port is horrifying. Okay, I lose my Golem here. I take 1 billion damage. Probably have to trade for one of these. Oh no, that's not gonna work, right? Protection. Mom's so good. Alright, I think I'm dead. I think I'm gonna take a draw step and concede unless I just draw something insane that I'm not thinking of. Yep. GG's. Like, great showing for my deck. We did some broken things there, but it just wasn't enough. Okay, bit of an awkward opening hand. Like, this has the same vial problem as the last hand, one of the previous hands, where, like, I have a vial to start with, and I can put this stuff in play, but then I'm not actually casting things for the general. I think I'm just gonna mulligan this one and try to do better. Okay. Not super stoked about this. I'm just gonna go Wasteland Pass, play a Thalia on turn 2, hope to rip a land for the general, and then kind of go wild from there. The Vial. Yeah. I still think I just need to put this in play. Like, doing something to interact with my opponent is probably pretty important. My opponent tends to play blue decks, often like High Tide, so I don't know that I have the time to just tick up an Aether Vial just kind of naturally here without doing something to hinder their initial cantrips. Okay, good news is I drew a land. The bad news is it's not a land that casts either one of these multicolored creatures. So that just means I'm paying 2 mana for an Aether Vial this turn and continuing to not pressure my opponent enough. Yeah, High Tide confirmed. High Tide beats Thalia. It takes them a little while to do it, but they will eventually go over the top of the taxation effects that I have. Pick this up. That does real stuff. That absolutely does real stuff. Yeah, this is fine. So this Lavinia makes it very hard to cast like the time spirals and things of that nature. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Some of the builds of this deck that I've been seeing have been doing things like Dress Down, though, which can be an absolute kick in the teeth for my deck in terms of just like answering multiple hatebears with a single card. Okay. I'll go ahead and just take this opportunity to put the Lavinia into play. All right, there's your island. Be safe for a little while, but I do need to end things pretty quickly. Like there's worlds where I can die next turn. I think it takes 2 turns for my opponent to go off most of the time, though. All right. Vial goes up. General? Probably just general. So this means that my opponent has to go off next turn or they die. I'm gonna exile a card. I don't want them to have access to more Merchant Scrolls. And that hits them for 6. All right, so this is your big moment. Can you do it? There's a High Tide. All right, there's Turnabout. Merchant Scroll. Presumably gets another High Tide. So now we're past the point where the Thalia tax is relevant. There's another Turnabout, sure. Bad news for me. There's the Time Spiral. I don't have anything relevant here. At this point, I'm just going to kind of F6 and whatever my opponent can do, my opponent can do. Yep. Sure. There's going to be a lot of spinning of wheels here. Sure, that's fine. Ponder is fine. Notably, my opponent is playing Pact of Negation, so that's something that I'll have to keep in mind. Opponent makes a bajillion mana. We are at the point where, yeah, like a Cunning Wish for a blue sun is going to just kill me. I'm not going to make my opponent click through that. We can concede here. Ugh. All right, so like we knew that was coming, right? Like I just literally needed one more attack step there. Like I stumbled over my mana a little bit and died because of it. Canonists come in, Lavinia's come in, Ball comes in. So some of the High Tide builds are playing Murktide Regents in the sideboard, so I'm gonna keep some Reflector Mages, I think. I think I'm gonna board out Bloodbraid Elves just so I don't have to think about Berserker mana. Then I'll just like, Mantis Rider has haste. That's somewhat valuable. Sort this by mana value. No, I can probably get rid of one of those. Like, this has haste, the General doesn't. The General is easier to cast. Like, the General's much, well, a little easier to cast on turn 2. I'm going to keep this. I think this hand does a good enough job of murdering my opponent that I can just keep this and kind of hope to goldfish my opponent in terms of raw speed. It is incredibly difficult for the High Tide deck to kill on turn 3. Turn 4 or 5 is more of its wheelhouse, and I think I should have my opponent dead by then. Like, feel pretty good about that. Oh, that's a great draw too. Human. And here's the General. Regardless Agent almost always hits a hate bear as well. I think I play Uncounterable Cabal next turn, followed by Mantis Rider. But it could be Shardless Agent. Like, few things in life are certain. Death and taxes and me reading cards every time we play. What can I say? I do love the jank. Opponent finds High Tide. Wrong color. Alright, so there's Cabal. I crash in for 4 after the Exalted trigger. So opponent's at 16. I have 3, 4, 5, 9, and 11, 12 damage next turn. Which maybe starts to get into lethal range once Cabal is considered. Yeah, that makes it so that one more spell just kills my opponent, and all of my spells have been uncounterable. I dig it. Alright. Triple pips of mana? Or a Mantis Rider. Okay, you're gonna dress down? Echoing Truth Cabal. Sure. So I'll hit my opponent for 10, bringing them to 1. Meaning that they can't fetch. I guess that was a reason to attempt to stop them. Like, to put a hate bear into play via Shardless Agent. Sure, that's fine. Like, it's hard to go off in this position. Yeah, opponent says much respect in chat. Okay, sure. Yeah. Opponent would have needed a snap to continue from there. Actually, I'm going to make a substitution. I'm going to sub out a Torrens for a Mantis Rider here, I think. I think Torrens is more reasonable on the play than on the draw. This hand is fine. Like, it has a Meddling Mage as is, which is useful. And I just kind of assume that most of my actual creatures that I draw will improve the quality of this hand substantially. Sure. Yep. Now, like a Ponderer preordained to shuffle it. That's all fine. Also put this on human. I'll play a Meddling Mage. And I'll just shut off High Tide with this. Yeah, that's fine. If I get more Meddling Mages, I can start shutting off answers to my hate bears, but I'm not there currently. Vial. I think Vial's too slow this game. So I'm sitting here thinking about whether or not I want this damage now or later. I think I want to play Mantis Rider now and start getting in this damage immediately, because I would prefer to play things other than General Kudro right now. Like, if I top deck a Meddling Mage, a Thalia, a Shardless Agent, anything of that nature, I would rather play those than the General. So I'd rather start just having 5 damage a turn as a clock. Obviously resolves. And attempt 5 damage. 5 damage succeeds, didn't get, like, snapped or anything. Dress down? Dress down. So Dress Down is one of those cards that's kind of horrifying. So that means that my opponent can just, like, High Tide and do their thing. And, like, Dress Down beats any number of hate bears in a way that, like, most other spells don't. Their kill is definitely not just, like, deterministic here. Wow, if I get a turn, that's a hell of a hand. Big if, though. Absolutely big if. Another high tide here means that an untapper becomes very good. Okay, so that can turn about, untap all those. So my opponent has 12 more mana left. This probably ends up beating me. Like, my opponent's still on 7 cards right now. I won't concede yet, because, like, we're definitely not in deterministic territory at all. My opponent is playing exceptionally quickly. Okay, another dress down. Okay, more high tide. Okay. Merchant scroll. That can get an untapper. Opponent needs another, like, time spiral. Oh, are we already at something that can kill? No, this is going to be a blue sun themselves situation. They're fine as long as they find an untapper. Okay, sure. Okay, snap the Mantis Rider. That can take a creature out of play, and then they can, like, time spiral my hand away if they have another one. Okay, they do. And is less good than the last one in terms of my ability to just, like, double hate bear in a single turn. Dress downs are still in play, and they're going to get sacrificed, so, like, there's worlds. Okay, still more high tides. Lands tapping for approximately a billion. I've lost track. So that gets the blue sun, and 53 kills me. I will concede there. GG's. Okay, round 3, I need to mulligan this hand. I just don't have enough mana. And the player draw. On the draw? Alright. Let's toss back a Bloodbraid Elf. This hand is a little sketchy. But I don't know that I want to go to 5. Sure. Let's go human. That's a great draw, by the way. Human into Noble Hierarch, and now I just have Shardless Agent on turn 2. I really hope this doesn't just eat like a Prismatic Ending or a Plow here. Okay, good, it didn't. So let's Shardless Agent and spin the wheels and see what we get. Another Noble Hierarch, which honestly isn't that bad. Like, that lets me attack for 4 next turn. Okay, there's a fetch. White mana? Green mana. Icefang Coatl then. Icefang Coatl. I don't care about trading a Shardless Agent body for an Icefang Coatl. Like, that's totally fine. Would care a bit if my opponent just, like, starts working towards an Uro immediately. Oh. Yep, this is a thing that happens. I think I have to put in a Thalia. It gives me some things that help to beat an Omniscience. Not against that shit, though. Okay, so we're playing against the blue-green show and tell deck that sometimes has some combination of Eureka, Icefang, Coatl, and Uro. Ball is reasonable. I suppose Lavinia does stuff. Canonist does stuff. Reflector Mage technically does stuff. A little hard to get the timing to work. Yeah, I think for a lot of these combo matchups, I'm going to end up trimming Bloodbraids a lot of the times to just, like, not have to worry about that, because I'm bringing in more humans, so I don't want to, like, be splitting the caverns if I don't have to. We need to trim one more here if I'm bringing in all of these cards, and, like, there's Reflector Mages to think about, too. It's hard to get this Reflector Mage to do its thing. I think I have to keep some. I'm going to board out one Mantis Rider. They become... Do I want a Pontiff? Pontiff declare Ice Fangs. I think I just trade bodies for Ice Fangs. This hand does not really do anything fast. This hand does not cast spells. I feel like our mulligans have been pretty unkind here. Like, Karakas is good, but not this good. Mulligan. Yeah, this is more like what I'm talking about. 2 Meddling Mages is probably a good number. Oh, right. 5. I'm gonna pitch the Shardless Agent. Like, I have plenty of other 3-drops I can draw that will do stuff that's relevant. Ooh, okay. So they are full-on Bant, so presumably there's some prismatic endings or Source of Plowshares or something like that in there. No shuffle on the Ponder. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely willing to just snipe that here rather than play the Meddling Mage immediately. Sure. Alright. Cavern on human. Or the Meddling Mage. Okay. Conan is going to brainstorm in response. No, they're not going to brainstorm in response. They're just fetching for the Ponder now. It's a little weird. I think I'm just going to name Icefang Coatl with the first of these. I don't want to worry about mid-combat blowouts with these creatures. This is fine. Cast a Noble Hierarch. Attempt to attack for 3. Alright, the Swords to Plowshares occurs. This second one probably has to go on like a show and tell. Like, I could just immediately put it back on Icefang Coatl. Like, my opponent actively wanted to remove that. Then I'm worse against show and tell. I'm going to continue to fight this Icefang Coatl fight. It feels like right now removal is the thing that is going to beat me a lot of the time. And if I don't try to play around some degree of removal, I think I'm just going to get, like, hit by a prismatic ending at some point and just, like, lose to that. And I don't really want to fall into that situation if I can avoid it. Alright. So let's send in for 3. Not great at beating Uro currently. Alright. Go Uncounterable Thalia into an Aethersworn Canonist that's not exactly doing a lot right now. It, like, has text versus show and tell. Oh, you have prompted a fetch. Okay, opponent is countering it. I am looking to draw a Reflector Mage next turn. Otherwise, I think this Uro just beats me. Okay. I'm going to draw a card pre-combat here. See if I can do something about this. General Ferrous. Goes on human. The worst timeline is like a Swords to Plowshares into an Icefang. See how this goes. 4 mana. Fencer. Bouncing the Thalia. Sure. Then you trade with this. Apologies if you all can hear this background noise, by the way. It sounds like someone is doing some snow shoveling or something like that with an electric shoveler. It's not great. So I'm opting to put this into play for the sake of mana efficiency and for, like, making my board better. If my opponent is fighting this hard over... okay. Well, I can kill that with the Noble Hierarch attack. That's the good news. I think I will go ahead and do that. Just, like, not messing around with this is probably pretty important. Alright, goodbye to Fairy. And again, for the sake of using my mana well, I think I am just going to go ahead and put this back into play over the Thalia. The Caracas means that the Uro is no longer as threatening. Like, it's still kind of a pain in the ass when my opponent hits their next land drop, but the thing. Yeah. Am I playing around Icefang Coatl? Probably playing around Icefang Coatl. So let's play a Vial. Let's play a Thalia. I think I'll just attack with Noble Hierarch. Like, I lose out on some damage, but I don't care if Noble Hierarch trades for an Icefang Coatl. But I really don't want to use my mana next turn to, like, replay this after bouncing it via Caracas. Yeah. And they are willing to take the trade. Is slightly surprising, but I don't know their life. Okay. File goes up. Cavern. Alright, here we go. Since I don't have anything else to do with my mana this turn, I'm more okay with attempting to, like, bounce this. My opponent has a Swords to Plowshares on top of it. They have a Swords to Plowshares on top of it. Attempt bounce. Okay, they do have the Swords to Plowshares on top of it. Oh. Oh, wow. Alright, hexproof from monocolored. I'm not used to that strange protection yet. I don't have the Caracas up this turn. Alright, seems like it's Uro time. It is Uro time. So my opponent has a lot of cards, and I'm kind of running on empty. I need to top deck something reasonable here. For sure. Maybe I do want Bloodbraids. Like, casting a Bloodbraid on a board like this would be pretty good. I would have the mana for it right now. The game's gone on long enough. Ugh. Human. Pass the turn. I'll have to bounce this Uro. Which is not getting me to where I want to be, by the way. Yeah. I'll put in my Cavern. Put it on Human. You'll cast an Emrakul. Oh, you'll cast a Grizzlebrand. Yeah. And an Emrakul. What a beating. We're not starting off well with this deck. Hey, you. Yeah, you. You subscribed to my YouTube channel yet? You are? Great. That's good. Some of you out there, you're not. You're watching my content? The algorithm. The algorithm is just feeding me to you, and that's fine too. But if you want to find me again, consider subscribing. Okay, back to the show. Is this deck running enough mana sources? This hand looks really good though. Which of these is the worst in a vacuum? Probably Lavinia? Probably Lavinia. Like, I play Thalia out on turn 2 as a way to, like, buy some time, figure out what I should be naming with a Meddling Mage. Sure. That's fine. Pondering. Forest. Elves? Not snow-covered. A little cat hiding in there. Oh yeah, we're playing against elves. In which case... And got a little more awkward. Alright. Cavern on Human. I think I will play a Meddling Mage, and it's actually really hard what to pick to put this on now. Like, it used to be that you just, like, name Natural Order, but I think I'm actually going to name Green Sun Zenith, because that just fetches up Allosaurus Shepherd and all the other things that my opponent needs, and an Allosaurus Shepherd will kill me just as easily as a Natural Order will. Like, I just want a pile of Meddling Mages. Canonist is reasonable. Thalia is not great. Boudreaux is not great. Like, bad things can happen to me this turn. And a lot worse things can happen next turn. Okay. Okay, Aquarian Ranger. My opponent can tap those 2 elves for a mana. And they do. Or a Wirewood. Sure. I think I don't attack here. Actually, would I be happy trading 2 creatures for that? Okay, well, I guess I can... Well. Yeah. I guess I can play the General. I'm going to hide this for a while. Let's play Caracas. Throw down the General. I can use this to blow up some bigger creatures, but I don't know that that's actually relevant right now. Let's send in Meddling Mage. It's awkward that my opponent has, like, both Quarian Ranger and Birchlaw Ranger. Their stuff's pretty well protected right now. Yeah, they just take that damage. My opponent's going to have enough mana next turn, in all likelihood, that, like, some Glimpse and Natural Order shenanigans can absolutely just kill me. Like, Quarian Ranger plus Birchlaw and Wirewood can do some very, very silly things, and my Wasteland is not super well equipped to protect me right now. I'm expecting that we're going to see, like, bounce my Forest, untap Dryad Arbor, tap it for more mana. Yep. So we can be at Natural Order range already. Seems like that is happening. Yep. That is the issue with elves. Like, you can shut off one angle of attack and they still have so many others. Yep, I am comfortable conceding here. Alright, Canonist, reasonable. Lavinia, okay. Staticaster is really good. Pontiff's really good. I don't think Magus is good enough. Reflector Mage is medium. Thalias are actively bad. That gives me these 4 cards, and then it's just a question of, like, are more Reflector Mages or Lavinias better than other things that are in the deck? Torrens is not exactly great. So keep Torrens. Like, he will scale well. He's a multicolored creature. I think I'm going to play another Lavinia. I don't think I'm going to go up more Reflector Mages, though. Like, it's so easy for my opponent to just redeploy cards. This is fine. Alright, opponent took 1 mulligan there. So I've got turn 2 Uncounterable Meddling Mage into turn 3 Shardless Agent for either another Hate Bear or a Noble Hierarch, which I'm fine with either one of those happening. Okay, Nettle Sentinel is fine. Means I'm not going to get early attacks in. But I think that's not really a problem. Sure. This goes human. And I do the Meddling Mage thing. And now it's like, which of Glimpse, Natural Order, and Green Sun do I want to shut off? I think I want to shut off Green Sun again. Like, I know that didn't work last time and I just lost to a Natural Order. But Green Sun is not just a win condition, it is also a way for them to set up and, like, find the pieces that they need. So I think I'm okay playing this the way that I am. Like, if I had 3 Meddling Mages, I would go Green Sun first, then Natural Order, then Glimpse. And if I got a 4th, I'd probably name Abrupt Decay. Although I could just, like, name Greaterhoof or Allosaurus Shepherd directly at that point, right? Okay, so I'm guessing Nettle Sentinel crashes in, takes its 2 points of damage. That's fine. I want to build up a wall, oh idiots, that I'm comfortable, like, attacking with. Or, like, it's not going to take much to stop the elves from attacking, right? Like, I have big creatures, and I have creatures that I don't care about trading away. So either one of those things happening is totally fine for me. Why are we fetching Dryad Arbor right now? I think you could have waited on that decision. Well, I guess you don't get blown out. No, it's a little worse if I have, like, an Orzhov Pontiff now. Draw Orzhov Pontiff? No. Draw another Bloodbraid, which is totally reasonable. So let's play Shardless Agent and spin the wheels to see what we can do with it. Hey, Lavinia. Great. So that's some protection versus a Natural Order for a little while. And note, this is opponent, so this is not a symmetrical effect. And then next turn, I'll just have Bloodbraid Elves that I can start firing off. See what my opponent can do. Like, they have plenty of things they can do that are scary. Yeah, this is one of them. And we'll see if I die this turn. It very much can happen. Heritage Druid is horrifying. So now my opponent has 3 mana from that, plus 1 mana with Dryad Arbor, plus at least 1 more mana from Dryad Arbor, plus Aquarian Ranger. And the Nettle Sentinels will start to untap. Opponent does only have 3 cards in hand right now. Some of them might be lands or otherwise uncastable cards, like the Green Sun. Oh, okay. They found an Allosaurus Shepherd naturally. That's very bad for me. That probably means I die next turn if I don't hit something cool like a Pontiff to do. Oh, another one. Yep. Now single target removal is not good enough for this board. My opponent will get at least 1 more Heritage Druid activation for 3 more mana. So now my opponent cannot Natural Order. Or I guess more accurately, if they cast a Natural Order, it gets countered. Okay. Multiple Nettle Sentinels is horrifying. So if you haven't seen this before, when you have multiple Nettle Sentinels, you have 2 Nettle Sentinels, right? And then you play a new creature. That's 3 total creatures. You tap those for your mana, and then you play a new creature, which untaps those. So this allows you to infinitely chain together, specifically 1-drop elves. So my situation is very bad. Elvish Visionary starts netting cards. My opponent easily has enough to just kill me next turn. Like, tap 2 lands and 3 elves. That's an attack for 20 alone right there. It's easier if, like, Dryad Arbor gets involved as well. Yeah, they don't trample, though, right? Yeah, they don't trample. Okay. At this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut to my opponent casting something interesting. Okay, my opponent played 3 or 4 more spells and then found a Crater Hoof, which I assume means that I am dead. Not next turn, but this turn. Yeah, they have a Nettle Sentinel that can attack, plus this, like 10-ish elves, just ballparking it, right? Yeah, that's plenty of damage. I will go ahead and concede here. We're 0-4. I'm not giving up on this deck. Like, I usually 0-4 drop at this point, but, like, I'm having a lot of fun playing this deck. I just think it needs some adjustments. Okay, round 5 here. I have an okay opening hand. We're not doing anything objectively broken, but, like, I've got a wasteland, I've got 4 lands, I have 2 3-drops, like, and at that, 2 3-drops that synergize very well with each other, right? Like, I play Torrens, then I play General. The tokens I make with Torrens get bigger. Cavern. Tribal War. Goblin. Oh no, am I dead? Fuck, I might just die. I absolutely might just die here. Like, my opponent could put in Muxus, and, like, that's the end of me. Wastelanding my opponent doesn't seem good now. F. Okay. Let's see if it's just not Phil's day. Like, I could just get Muxus here, and we'll just, like, concede game 1. How bad is it? Damage report, Captain. Only a Goblin Chieftain. Like, that's not the end of the world. That's just normal levels of bad. Ogwar Marshal, absolutely. Okay. So, my first striker is actually pretty reasonable here. Let's play a Thalia. I'm doing a mighty fine Death and Taxes impression right now. Ooh, I'm happy with opponent paying for Mog War Marshal, because that means my Thalia is just, like, not immediately eating it to the red-black goblin that kills creatures. Like, no, munitions expert. Oh no, another one of those. If my opponent attacks with both of them, then one of them connects for sure. I mean, so I attempt to, like, kill one of those. See how bad the other one hitting is. Not bad. All right, they're out of goblins. A little miraculous, but I might have stabilized. I think I will go ahead and play a Torrens here. Okay. Ooh, Ancient Tomb. Muxus is absolutely in that deck somewhere. Oh, they're tapping the tomb. Are we in a Goblin Matron situation? Interesting. Would have thought they would have left black mana up. I don't know, maybe they're just going to get a Muxus and say, like, I'll draw a land eventually and then win. Krenko. Ooh. Krenko is some sick value. What's Krenko's power? 3/3? 3/3. This kills 4/4s. That Krenko activating probably kills me. I think try to fight this on a couple of different fronts. I think I take out the Ancient Tomb so that my opponent can't be cheating on mana. And then I think I go ahead and Reflector Mage the Goblin Chieftain back to my opponent's hand. How does training work again? Whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, cool. And we're just gonna chill. Like, I don't want to get too saucy and then run into a situation. Oh, fuck. That's a very good draw. So that means that Krenko is on the table next turn, even without another land. Unless it's not. Alright, so new Reflector Mage. Reflector Mage, bounce the War Chief. Now with this many things held back, maybe I can go ahead and make some attacks. Yeah, I mean, let's get in there. I'm not winning this one as it goes long. Alright, yield to that. If nothing else, reducing my opponent's artifact, or not artifact, my opponent's goblin count is very relevant. Holy shit, my opponent just took all the damage. Was not expecting that. Maybe I should have gotten a little saucier with my attacks. I expected my opponent to trade some bodies. So my opponent will replay, I don't want to misspeak, the one that reduces costs. Oh no, they're going to play Goblin Chieftain. Okay. Ancient Ziggurat. 3 of these things hitting my opponent kills them. I will have 2 blockers held back. My opponent has to block 3 things. I think I'm okay to alpha. Alright, so there's Kudrow. Make a critter. There's my critter. There's Kudrow. Exile a Goblin Lackey. Crash in for an absolutely insane amount of damage. Torrens is now up to a... well, I guess Torrens didn't get a counter, right? Torrens just got bigger from Kudrow. Oh, right, so my opponent has to actually block a 4th, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, if I had gotten a little saucier with my attacks earlier, my opponent would be dead now. Maybe I played too conservatively in the early game here. So does my opponent have the land for Krenko? They do not. I wouldn't have died to it anyway, but it would have been annoying. Whew! Alright. Pontiff, good. Staticaster, good. Reflector, Mage, good. This doesn't affect creatures, right? This affects a Pyrokinesis. That's about it. Which is better, Thalia's First Strike or Lavinia stopping Pyrokinesis? Kind of similar, honestly. Both are a little rough on the draw. I think Thalia's First Strike is generally more useful. This means I'm boarding in 3 cards. I guess that's fine. I think my opponent is very favored in the game on the play, just by the way. And this hand will absolutely be a mulligan. This one's fine. Am I just throwing back the Bloodbraid here? I think all the rest of these cards are important enough that I can just throw back the Bloodbraid. Like, the Bloodbraid is also, like, one of the worst cards if I happen to get Wastelanded. Which, like, Vile Wasteland or Lackey Wasteland is one of my opponent's, like, preferred openings. Alright, the Cavern is expectedly on God. Ooh, Ignoble Hierarchs. Hell yeah. That's something that dies to Pontiff. Bloodbraid came back. Cavern. Hierarch. I am unsure how aggressively I will use Pontiff. Like, I can get sick value by waiting. But taking out a Hierarch and, wow, and reducing my opponent's mana as quickly as possible is, like, important too. Yep, that's fine. What is it searching for? Muxus. Yeah, if my opponent is searching for Muxus, I probably... oh, I will absolutely... oh my god. Oh, this is such a sexy Pontiff. That's a 3-for-1. Delicious. Oh boy, I've not seen one of those for a long time. I needed it here. Alright. Drink my opponent's creatures. Okay, now, hopefully this gives me time to get set up with, like, the General and Bloodbraid and the more other General. Oh yeah, we have 2 sweet Generals. These from the same set, or are these, like, different planes? Different set symbols. Greater Maker, that's fine. Oh, Wasteland is so good. Oh my god, this Wasteland is so good. Well, it's Wasteland, attempt to blow up Ancient Tomb. Opponent might sack Crater Maker in response to take out one of my things. They do not. So I'm going to go ahead and play my General here. And then I'll attack for 2 with Exalted. I don't care if I trade for Goblin Crater Maker, right? Like, I already gave my opponent the chance to do that. Yep. They're just going to eat that damage. And then I probably just play Shardless Agent next turn, make my 2 Golems, and call it a day. Okay, opponent found another Ancient Tomb. Like, that works towards Muxus pretty damn well. A Hierarch. That's not better than this. Shardless Agent. Rigor. We'll get my Golem. Oh, we hit an Aether Vial. I wanted 2 Golems. This is hexproof, not protection. I will just crash in with a Pontiff here. For my 2 points of damage. And then next turn I have the... ooh. Getting the trade here. Okay, they're going to ping a different creature so the Pontiff doesn't die. That's totally reasonable. The 3rd Ancient Tomb would be a disaster here. Good thing it's unlikely for them to have that. Damn it. Oh my fucking god. My opponent is gonna, like, draw 8 cards here. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. So it was just, like, not Phil's day, huh? So that Krenko taps and creates at least 5 goblins next turn, more than likely 6 goblins. There'll be goblins that have +1/+1, like my opponent has a Fury. Or no, is Fury a goblin? Fury's not a goblin, right? No, it's an elemental incarnation. Yeah. Like, I know my opponent has a Goblin Chieftain in hand. All the creature tokens are going to be 2/2s. Ow. This is a 3/3, so I can't just, like, kill it with this. Okay. Okay. Next game. Really thought I had that one. This Vile hand looks less good when you realize that, like, there's two... Oh, sorry. I was answering opponent in chat. Like, I have 2 Bloodbraid Elves here that are, like, bad with Aether Vial, and I don't know that this hand is actually a keep. It's, like, totally fine if I get to 4 mana. I think I'm just gonna ship this one. Yikes. This is significantly worse than that last hand. I'll go to 5. This is easily the best hand of all the ones that I've seen so far. So a Vial and a General go back. This hand becomes bad if I get Wastelanded, though. So this goes on human. And I'll play a Noble Hierarch. Oh, wow. Basic Forest for the Ignoble Hierarch. Oh, nice. This hand becomes insane with 1 more land. Multiple Golems next turn would be sick. Okay. The Matron turn. Ooh, is the food chain. I suspected it was here. Oh, this interaction is bullshit, huh? So I'm going to lose this Noble Hierarch, and my opponent is going to sacrifice Fury to food chain, and then can immediately ramp to Muxus. Oh, no. Oh, my God, why? Those aren't necessarily the best hits, but my opponent can just Matron for Muxus, sack Muxus to Muxus, and go again. Yeah. Oh, what the fuck? That's dirty. I have not seen Fury food chain before. Like, oh. Wow. Okay. So, I'm just gonna let my opponent finish their turn, because I'm 0-5 in this league at this point, and my opponent's doing something cool as fuck. So I'm just gonna let them sacrifice their Muxus and Muxus again. Oh wait, they got a Goblin War Chief? Oh. So, oh, another Muxus. Oh my god. So now they're all hasty. And my opponent can do it one more time. Like, this is insane. Just so incredibly impressed by what is happening here. This is turn 2. This is fucking turn 2, folks, that we are seeing this happen. Like, I don't know how much damage my opponent is doing here, but it's a lot. Franco is getting involved. Franco plus food. Oh my god. Yeah, so the Krenko tapping gives like 20 plus mana. That is absolute insanity. Yeah. You know, I think I'm gonna have to take a quick screenshot of this one. Yeah. One said popped off pretty hard. That was pretty sick. Alright, no blocks. I wanted to see how much my life total went negative. Cheers for letting it happen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I needed that screenshot. Okay. Overall thoughts on the deck. I don't think this was an 0-5 deck. I think this deck was perfectly respectable. That said, I think Aether Vial is kind of not good in this deck. Like, I would just rather be playing 4 more, like, human mana dorks of some kind to accelerate out to this stuff faster. Like, my best starts very clearly were the ones that I had 3 mana, so that I could just play General Ferrous on turn 2. I also don't know, like, if you actually get to play 4 Wastelands. I mulliganed a lot. Like, a lot. The mana requirements are hard in this deck, especially if you're trying to do these Bloodbraid Elves, which are not on Tribe. I enjoyed playing this deck list a lot. Like, it did some silly things, but it just did not work out. Like, I love some of the interactions here. Like, Torrens plus Kudro is cool. The General plus Shardless Agent and Bloodbraid is really cool. But I don't think this one is quite there yet. If you have thoughts about adjusting this, let me know in the comments. Have a great rest of the day, folks. And remember, if you have a cool deck you want to see on the channel, my donation information, as well as all these deck lists, are always available in the video description. See ya!